What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with another boxing update. For those of you who don't know, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. just tested positive for marijuana in his system from his last fight, September 15th, against Sergio Martinez last Saturday. I know some of you guys are probably thinking, hey, it's no big deal, it's just weed. And I live in California, which is a weed capital. So I don't look down or shun people who smoke weed or choose to smoke weed. However, I don't think the same rules apply when you're claiming to be a professional and or a world champion. It's different from a regular Joe Schmo who works at Kmart part-time and in his spare time he decides to just smoke weed all the time. You're a professional athlete. So I think the training, the conditioning, and the way you keep your body healthy and your expectations are going to be different from just the average person. And here you have Chavez Jr., who's claiming that he's a legitimate middleweight contender / world champion, and he's trying to get out of his father's shadow and keep the Chavez name going. And he fails a drug test. And then for those of you who don't know, in 2009, he also failed a drug test. So this is not the first occurrence he's had. He failed a drug test in 2009. He had some kind of diuretic in his system. And I believe he was suspended for about 7 or 8 months in that whole situation by the commission. So for Chavez Jr., it's just really disappointing. Here you are, a young fighter, undefeated, and you're going into the biggest fight of your career against Sergio Martinez. And what do? It's revealed after the fact that you tested positive for marijuana. It just makes me question how serious you are, your work ethic. These are all things that are now up in the air. Whereas if you wouldn't have failed the drug test, I probably wouldn't have thought about any of those things. Because to be honest, I was actually giving Chavez Jr. credit, even though he got dominated for 11.5 rounds, as I predicted in my prediction video. I just gave him credit for not getting knocked out or not getting knocked down against an elite fighter, and for his 12th round rally towards the end of that round. But now, everything's kind of out the window. It's like, I just feel, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be successful? How bad do you want to get out of your dad's shadow? And to me, with little things like this, it doesn't really make a case for you. And I was watching HBO 24/7 leading up to the fight with Sergio Martinez and Chavez Jr. And HBO really depicted him as kind of lazy and the spoiled rich kid type. And initially, I thought some of that was established just to create ratings, and so HBO can kind of have a protagonist and an antagonist. They can have the good guy and the villain type deal, and or maybe just to get Sergio Martinez to underestimate his opponent and think he's not training, and he's really training hard. But with this recent news, now it makes me believe everything that they showed was accurate, and it wasn't just for ratings. This is just who you are. You have a piss poor work ethic. And on the 24/7, they show Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., who is a legend in the game in Mexico and in America. And it looked like he was giving him pointers on how to fight a fighter like Sergio. And he was eating Lucky Charms or some shit. And it didn't appear that he was really listening to his father. He was just kind of like, yeah. And then I think he jumped in the pool. Then they also show Freddie Roach, who is his trainer, at the gym. And keep in mind, Freddie Roach lives in LA. And he traveled all the way to Vegas to accommodate you. And then he was waiting at the gym for you about 45 minutes to an hour. Then he gets a call from one of your assistants stating, hey, Chavez Jr., he's burnt out. He feels he needs a day off, so he's not coming. That's unprofessional. Even if you felt you needed a day off, why would you have that man, your trainer, go to the gym and wait? If you guys had plans, at least cancel the plans promptly so he's not waiting, instead of making a last-minute decision like, oh, I don't need training today. I need a day off. I deserve it. And then just the other things with him training at the house, and he doesn't want to go to the gym, or the gym in LA is not sufficient, or him sleeping till 6 p.m., 5 p.m. at night. These are all indications of his work ethic. And then just just with the new findings about the marijuana in his system, it really just makes me question how bad he wants it, how much he desires to be a world class champion. Because you look at other fighters like Floyd Mayweather Jr., perfect example. From what I hear, Floyd Mayweather doesn't drink or smoke, and he keeps his body conditioned. Even when he took the 18-month layoff, they said he was still in the gym doing rounds. He was still exercising, still jogging. In jail, it appears that he still maintained his body weight and was in good shape when he came out. And it's not just about marijuana. It's the fact that this is the second time you've tested positive for something, and two, you're such a young fighter. There's other fighters who are young and who are world champions that have had like different battles. Like Kelly Pavlik, perfect example. He had a drinking problem, but it looks like Kelly Pavlik is really on the comeback trail and trying to take it serious. I've seen several interviews from him on YouTube, and it seems like he really wants to establish himself as a world class fighter and let people know that he's the best. He looks like he's really taking to this sobriety and really trying to shape up his life and put his demons in the past and move forward with his life. He said he's trying to fight Carl Froch's Sergio Martinez rematch or Chavez Jr. And it seems like he's sticking to that. But then you have Chavez Jr., who's young, and I feel to a degree he's kind of is the spoiled rich kid, arrogant, and it just makes me lose respect for him when I see an athlete with some potential. I mean, he does definitely good body work, and size wise he's basically, like everyone knows, he's basically like a cruiserweight fighting at middleweight. So it looks like he has some level of potential. He's definitely been improving, and his father had a chin, and it looks like he's inherited that. But all those things that don't amount to shit if you're not willing to put the work in at the gym, if you're not taking it seriously, if you're going to damage your body or abuse your body, or just do things that other fighters have restrained from. Things like eating bad or smoking weed. There's certain sacrifices as a professional athlete that you would have to make if you are serious about it. And I just feel like some athletes are and some athletes aren't. And overall, that's going to separate someone who's elite and someone who has skill or who can kind of learn on the job, but they're never going to reach that full potential. So that's just my thoughts. Rate, subscribe, comment, hate. You know the routine.